Hello, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to ChannelBK. My name is Brian. Jesus Christ. Top 20 movies of 2024. This is like the billionth time I'm trying to shoot this freaking thing, editing the list, stopping recording, ending recording, all that crap. But we're here. There's no runners up. This was such a great year. There'd be too many to count. And yeah, I've been trying to catch up on all the movies that have been finally coming out and movies that I still haven't seen. So we're here. Let's go. Let's do it. Number 20, The First Omen. What a debut. What a just phenomenal horror, big studio horror movie. The intro is one of my favorites in a long time. The visuals, the look of it, the feel, love it. Awesome. 19, the surprise animated movie of the year, Flow. I love how this was animated. My theater experience, what really annoyed me. However, it's fine. It's about cat. Well, I was going to say cats, but it's about a cat and some dogs and some other animals. It's adorable. And I think you should check it out. Yes, I think it is worth the hype. It's not like obviously the greatest thing ever, but it's very charming and very lovely. So go watch it. Number 18, Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Another charming and wonderful movie. My favorite of the three Sonic movies. Shadow, great introduction, double Jim Carrey performance. Some beautiful moments in here as well. I thought it was very well done. We're finally getting the, okay, no more humans part of the Sonic movies, and it's fantastic, and you should definitely check out all these movies, really, all the Sonic movies, especially the third one. 17, Rebel Ridge. This is from the director of Green Room, and it was very interesting to me to see this kind of revenge movie, but it is done in a very tasteful way. There's some moments in this movie that I will always remember. He's on the Wikipedia. I said, nah, great stuff in this movie. The ending was actually very intriguing too. I think, it's done in a way that I think I wasn't expecting because it's a very realistic kind of movie too. And I think you should definitely check it out for what it is. 16, Heretic. Hugh Grant locks two Mormon girls in his house and it goes nowhere you think it's going to go. It's pretty great. And again, it's saying a lot. And I think it's saying it a little bit like it's hitting you over the head. But I think the style and the way it's written is diverging you when it comes to, it is hitting you over the head. However, I still think what it's doing is great to where you're not rolling your eyes. But yeah, fantastic. Number 15, The Line. This is a fraternity movie. They're evil, right? Ha ha ha. But no, Alex Wolff is fantastic. All the little subtleties are great. The way it looks is fantastic. If you haven't seen it, see it. It's very well done. And it's a movie that, obviously not a lot of people are seeing. So go see it. 14, Challengers. The most snub movie at the Oscars. Josh, Mike, Zendaya, fantastic. The score is amazing. One of the most in-your-face Luca movies, because I think his style speaks a lot, and then his movies tend to be a little bit more subdued. This is just all in your face all the time, and it's great. And it's a very unique movie for what it's doing, and it's bringing back some kind of older styles of film. Number 13, Hitman. This is Glenn Powell being goofy and playing different kinds of characters, and Richard Linklater does a really good job as well, and it's kind of him doing something a little bit off-kiltered, and, kind of like the great Richard Linklater movies, it's all in that writing, it's all in the characters' interactions, and I think this is done very, very well. So, yes, go check it out. It's a few Netflix movies at this point. Anyways, number 12, Love Lies Bleeding. This movie is fantastic. I think all the performances, Katie, Kristen, Ed, they're all great. I love just how disgusting this movie is, and just the way that it portrays its topics and where it is, and the themes of it. And it has a lot of different things going on that I think are unique, that leads to a very crazy conclusion, but it still worked mostly for me. And it's, one of those movies that it's one of those movies that you just feel like you have to take a shower after you see it. So watch it at home and then just take a shower after, or watch it in the shower. Do whatever you need. Number 11, another Netflix picked up movie, documentary that got snubbed at the Oscars, Daughters. I don't really know if this is a movie I would recommend. It is a good recommendation, but let me tell you, the movie hits you where it needs to hit you, but then it does so many different things that you don't expect and you don't know where it's going that it almost breaks your heart for the third and fourth time. It's about incarcerated black men, and they do a daddy-daughter dance at the prison, and it follows 4 specific girls and their parents. And it's, it's one of those things where you hear it, it's going to be emotional, but it's even more so with a lot of the other things that you're not expecting. Number 10, we're in the top 10 now. Conclave, a bunch of old, white, well, I guess not all white, but a bunch of old religious men gossiping about each other. And I think Edward Berger does a fantastic job directing this movie in a way where it's not as kind of boring and slow as you would think. He builds a lot of great tension. I think the performances are great. It really does feel like a stage play or like a Sorkin script. It has a lot of interesting twists and turns. I think it's this idea of, and I said this on my letterbox, it's the respectful, movie of these religious people and the fact of mortal men and what they're willing to do to get by, and sort of the mix of that. And it's very intriguing, and it's obviously getting a lot of buzz for the Oscars. So if you haven't seen it, go see it. It's well done, especially if you're not into this sort of thing, because I thought it looked kind of like, okay, this seems kind of boring. But again, I think a lot of it is brought out from the direction and the performances. So go check it out. Number 9, Dee Dee. This movie hit me because this movie related to me a lot growing up, wanting to do YouTube movies, wanting to do stuff like that. And it's, a movie about growing up, which also kind of hits at my, tugs at my heartstrings, I should say. And it's just well done, and it's hilarious, and it's so well navigated, and the way, I love the way it's told in such a realistic fashion. There's just these moments that just kind of hit me where I'm like, oh God, because it's just, I knew how I felt at this time similarly. And again, it's one of those kind of, it's what we're starting to see now out of more modern movies when, this kind of topic is becoming nostalgic, crazy. But yes, go check it out. It is wonderful and delightful. Number 8, The Wild Robot. Yes, it's a big studio animated movie, and it's fantastic. It's so wonderful, so delightful. It looks incredible. Lupita, Pedro, they're both great in it. Again, for a movie that is doing what it's doing and in the spotlight that it's doing it, it does it in such a great way. I think, DreamWorks tends to be very well done with their animation, obviously How to Train Your Dragon, the Shrek movies. Yes, this is fantastic, and it's adding to that, and it's just wonderful. Very well done. Number 7, Twisters, the big blockbuster of the year. We saw this in Screen X, and it didn't really make a difference, but it was fun, and it was crazy, and the set pieces were great, and I thought all the characters were fleshed out, and you kind of knew who everybody was, and I think this is one of those legacy sequels that I really liked because, one, it doesn't have that much of a connection at all to the first one, and it does what the first one does, but it also throws stuff on its head, kind of like when Force Awakens came out. And yeah, it's just one of those things where you just want to see Daisy and Glenn going at it, and Glenn is I talked about Hitman, but this is just him being Glenn Powell. He plays himself in this movie pretty much. That's all. That's great. Number 6. So I will say these top 6 movies I all thought were 5 out of 5. These are all fantastic movies you need to see. Number 6, Furiosa, Mad Max Saga. We let this movie down. We let this movie down so much. This movie is awesome. It is completely different than Fury Road, but it's also just as good. It's a deep character study. It's slower. It has one of the best action sequences of a Mad Max movie ever, maybe of an action movie last year. It is fantastic. The way it ends is so wonderful. Chris Hemsworth is great. Anya Taylor-Joy is fantastic. God, it's sad we're not going to get the finale of these Mad Max movies, unfortunately, but, you know, I mean, who knows? Maybe. We'll see. We're going to see what happens, but this movie needs to be watched. It is awesome. Number 5, getting into the top 5 now, No Other Land. Speaking of, you know, heartbreaking documentaries, first off, Free Palestine. And number 2, this is a movie that will surely open your eyes if it hasn't already, and it should because of what's going on. And, you know, it's not even just the shock and horror that makes this a movie you need to watch, just the way the documentary unfolds and just the pacing of it and just the kind of back and forth of the fight in the day, the calmness of night, and then having to get up immediately to go, you know, see what other crazy shit Israel is doing. And it's a documentary that is going to give you a bird's eye view of what's happening. And there's just no other way around it. So if you can watch this movie anywhere, please go. I had to find my own way to find it. But please watch this. It's worth the watch for sure. Number 4, Dune Part 2, the movie that everyone's been forgetting about, apparently, since the beginning of the year. I don't know why the hype has died down about this movie. This movie is still as fantastic as when it first came out. It is gorgeous. Austin Butler is transformative and fantastic. Obviously we were sort of preparing ourselves for what the Dune movies were going to be. The first one sort of setting that stage with some nice action stuff, and then this just sort of becomes all-out battle, all-out war. And all the new additions are fantastic. And again, it's like this is the spectacle film. And Timothy put in that performance, and you know, all the memes and stuff are great too that lead into it, but it still makes those scenes even fantastic, especially his main speech in the movie. It's so good. Number 3, Sing Sing. Thanks, A24. This movie is what I love so much about Chloe Zhao movies. Shout out Eternals. Just quoting my Letterboxd review. Wow, so many moments. And again, going back to Daughters, this is done in a way where obviously everybody besides Coleman Domingo and obviously like Paul Raci and whatnot are playing fictional versions of themselves. And it makes it a lot more impactful watching it. And I just think this movie is, again, it's eye-opening, and it gives you such a new perspective, and the way it sort of unfolds, and just sort of the fun of it, and the humanity of it, and it's just one of those movies where it felt like every second and every inch of it was so well done, and it really just was people putting their all into it. And it still hasn't left me. It's just absolutely wonderful. Also, the next 2 movies have not left me either. So definitely this is a top 3 perspective. Number 2, Anora. Sean Baker. I'm telling you, dude, I haven't been following him as long as probably a lot of other people, but I'm glad I have been, because this movie, it just feels like one of his more complete works. But it's still him doing something that's so bizarre, so out there. It kind of just feels like a mix of Red Rocket, you know, like Red Rocket, Tangerine. There's so many different aspects that he's pulling into this movie that feel like this is sort of his most universal film, but also he's still doing stuff that is very different and interesting. Again, all the performances, Mikey's great. Yura is great as well. Like everyone in this movie does exactly what they need to do, and it gives you a perspective where you just follow these people and there's no judgment, again, like how Sean Baker is, and the ending just kind of leaves you with just a shock, and just it sits with you, and just it makes you just kind of go, wow, like it hits so big. But just like my number one movie, because 7 years ago I saw a movie by a French woman that kind of just threw me for a loop, and we're getting that again now with The Substance. And my oh my, like, this is obviously very different than Raw, but holy shit, this was one of my favorite theater going experiences in a long time. It is so in your face, but again, going back to Heretic, I think a lot of what this movie does well is it's meant to be hitting you in the head, on the head rather. It's meant to be in your face. It's meant to be gross. It's meant to be all these things, because I think all of the quieter moments, all of the smaller moments, all of the things that you think about after the fact work so well. Demi's great. Dennis Quaid is fucking great in what he has. Margaret Qualley's great. It's, body horror mixed with just this really great drama about, women getting older in the industry. And the fact that this movie is getting all these award, like, buzz or nominations is crazy. I think this is the most chaotic Best Picture nominee ever. But this is a movie I've been wanting to see again. I want to see again. Like, I want to keep watching it again. Just that energy in it is so fantastic. And it's so unrealistic, but that's the point. In a lot of what it's doing, like it's and this is what makes film so great, is like from the big ass billboard outside her house to the fact that, like, how can she even get a job? Again, none of it means anything and none of it makes sense, but that's fine because that's part of the movie. Like, it's the rules of the movie. It's fine because it doesn't matter with what is set up. And it's just bold, and it's so unique, and that's why it's my favorite movie of the year. And again, the ending sits with you too in a way that I think is funny, but also just like, wow, holy shit. So what were your favorite movies of the year now that we're through almost 3 months into the year? A little over 2 months now. Leave in the comments below. Like, comment, subscribe. I'm sorry, but here, you got it. You got it. Final list. Damn it. Tell them to put more movies in Michigan quicker, and then you'll get it quicker. But until next time, thank you all so much. 2023 or 4, I don't know what year it is. 2024 was awesome because 2025 hopefully is going to be great as well. But until next time, thank you all so much for watching. Thank you for tuning in to ChannelBK. Peace out, everybody.